Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us right here on Midday, Kentucky, everyone. I was just saying it's a little warm in the studio today.
I think it feels good.
Yeah, I know.
But
I've got
a
long
big,
sleeve
heavy jacket.
and a jacket.
Yeah, you've got a lot on.
How are you? I've got a lot going on.
Oh, pretty nice. I put on some fancy heels
Oh,
for
can
you
we get a
today.
shot on
No
camera?
flat.
Camera
Oh, we
three.
can't even see him today.
Very
I was getting
pretty.
Let's just
shamed
grab
for
a
my
shot on
shoes.
camera
I wear
3.
some
Our
red
cameraman.
shoes.
Can we grab a shot on camera 3?
Wait, we're zooming in
Where
more.
are the shoes? Yeah, let's have a look at those
Look at
gorgeous
these.
shoes.
They are gorgeous.
We call
They
it
are
Midday,
pretty.
Kentucky Shoe Camp. Good girl.
Well.
We anywhere
Take our
near
word
that
for
shot?
it.
I don't know where that shot has gone. Anyway, next topic, obviously. How are you, my dear?
Doing great.
Good.
Doing great. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. Buying
We re-
furniture?
What?
Are you buying furniture?
What for?
You were showing me
You were
some
showing us
some
furniture.
furniture.
Yeah, thanks for alerting the world. I don't
I told him to stay a while,
I really
you know,
don't
unless
care.
he did.
Okay, well, let's talk about the next topic that I want to get into. A school in Wisconsin is requiring students to submit photos of their dresses before they can buy tickets to the homecoming dance. Take a look at this story from Good Morning America this morning.
Strapless, low back, and cutouts were some of the hottest dress trends at the Emmys, but these Hollywood looks won't be allowed at one high school's homecoming.
We're not allowed to wear two-piece dresses. So far, we haven't been allowed to show any part of our back. Strapless, low cut, nothing like that.
17-year-old Nicole Stark is a senior at Pewaukee High School in Wisconsin, where dress codes have always been strict. And just recently, the administration sent an email reminding parents and students that before purchasing a ticket, we are requiring all dress-wearing students or non-PHS guests to provide a picture of themselves in their homecoming attire.
I think the fact that we have to submit a photo of ourselves wearing it front and back is a little bit just kind of creepy to me.
But Nicole's friend Callista, who carefully chose her dress according to the guidelines, is concerned it may not make the cut this year.
It has a little bit of cutouts at the chest, which I'm worried about.
The school says they require these dress photos in advance so students aren't turned away at the night of the dance.
Honestly, I'd much rather get turned away at the door than to send a picture of myself wearing a dress.
I just don't want them to go too far to the point where when you go shopping and you can't find anything because you're worried about the back, worried about the front, worried about everything.
While almost 64% of schools have dress codes, some experts like Rosalind Wiseman think this protocol sends the wrong message to young women.
What we're looking at is arbitrary standards that an adult gets to decide, and what that does is shame the young person and says you don't get to belong here because of the way that your body looks.
On Monday, the school updating their policy, saying if someone feels uncomfortable sending in a picture, a parent can email an administrator saying their child understands the guidelines and will comply with the dress code.
So, when I look at that, what do you both think of that as gals?
I can't believe that's really even a problem, but I guess it is in today's world. None of us worried about it. Our dresses were very conservative back then, though.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it is an issue because even though the white dress that girl was showing was completely cut out down to here, I think that isn't appropriate for that age. I think
is
the
or it
school
isn't?
is not.
Yeah.
That is,
But the problem-
it is inappropriate, is what I'm saying. But I think that the school maybe went too far with the picture thing. But I like them keeping the parents accountable for then saying, my kid understands the guidelines, I will follow it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because some of these outfits are inappropriate.
Yeah, the thing is that's how they're making dresses, though. That girl, I mean, she's right. She's like, I have to look everywhere to try to find something that complies with the front, complies with the back, complies, with my own likes and dislikes. I mean, it seems like it would make it very difficult to buy a dress nowadays for, kids.
It's interesting you say that. I'm so glad because how old is a gal for homecoming? When you
16
go
to
to
18.
16 to 18.
Well, if it's homecoming, not prom, that can be what, 14 to 18?
Okay, so
15 to 18?
I just thought, I saw this story this morning. I wanted to ask everyone at home and also your opinions because sometimes I'm a little bit of a nerd and a little bit conservative when it comes to these things. But I also think it's completely inappropriate that what I see some of these girls wear to the proms and to homecoming things, especially, you wouldn't be allowed to wear that at some of the schools in Australia either. Like, you would be asked to go home. So I think what the school's doing is saying, instead of us sending you home when you arrive and embarrassing you and making you feel bad, and then also all that money that you've wasted, let's just hold it in now. let's just pull this back. I don't know about the photographs. I think what they could have is images of photos that go home to the parents and the kids of these are the type of dresses that aren't suitable. Just like they do when you have school uniforms. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you can wear, I don't know whether it's applicable here, but yes, you can wear shorts for boys, but they can't be, you know, this up past this part of the knee, or girls you can wear dresses but it can't be, it's got to be 4 inches below the
Yeah.
knee. I don't know.
I'm
using that as an example.
But there's so many things you
Yeah.
could wear. I went for my first homecoming, I couldn't find a dress to wear, and I wore a Wilma costume.
A what?
A Wilma,
A Wilma costume.
Flintstones?
Yeah. You can do whatever you want. I think that just follow the guidelines. You can find a dress to wear that is
That's
not
great.
cut out down to here. That's not an excuse, you know, like there's so many things out there. I think they got it right by having the parents just sign something saying they understand
Good
the
job.
guidelines.
I think it's great. And I think it's perfect that they are also learning that there are guidelines. Because sometimes I used to remember people used to turn up for job interviews and I'd think, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
Did you forget that this was a job interview? You know, I think it's sort of a little bit of training that's happening later in life as well. Katie, we're talking about hereditary traits.
Yeah, this
Okay.
was interesting. So I saw a blog post from a mom that was talking about how parents get so concerned with the hereditary traits that you'll pass down to your children, maybe how you look, health issues, but she was talking about the non-hereditary traits and what you'll pass down to your kids. And there is some articles out from psychologists now that say what is happening is called modeling, and that's you passing down your sense of humor or style to your children. And they said that is real and does happen. You pass down those personality traits just as often to your children. So I was wondering what you think that you got from your parents that's not hereditary, and if you think you've passed anything down to your son so far, your personality traits.
I became a smoker because my
Okay.
mother smoked 24/7, and I've since given up. But it was something that I hated doing, but I don't know why I was doing it. It just was part of what I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
And really
Glad you
everything.
quit.
Yeah, I am glad. But I look at my hands and I see my mother. Now,
Yeah.
is that a trait? But that's genetic. Do you know, I see things every now and then, you know, about things that I might say or something, and that's a
Okay.
hereditary trait. But that's really about it.
No other personality traits, you think?
No, not that we could discuss on air. Moving with the times and getting things done straight away,
See,
which
that's
is what I
good.
love to have
Okay.
done. Yeah.
What about you, Lisa?
Okay, so my mother was a fast walker, so I definitely got that from her. I walk fast
You're a pacer.
everywhere I go.
No,
oh,
you
yeah,
do.
I
You're
do.
right.
And then, and then plus she was kind of a straight talker. She didn't beat around the bush. There was no fluff around my mom. She
I like
was, you
that.
know, so that I got that from her as well.
Do you notice any of your personality traits in your sons? Or what about Doug's personality traits? Who do you think they're more
Yes.
like?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the youngest, Harrison, he takes after. He's got like a silliness, a goofiness to
Yeah.
him. He likes to be silly, and that's kind of like me. I do
Okay.
get silly. And
Yeah,
Jackson.
you do.
And Jackson, the oldest, he likes to. He's very serious. Very, you know, everything is very black and white, and that's a lot like his daddy too. Doug is a
Is
lot
Doug like that?
Yes, very much so.
What about you, ma'am?
I don't know. I think as I was reading more into this article, they said it's very uncommon that you just pick up a couple things that are modeled after your parents. People either mirror one of their parents or they consciously are the direct opposite of their parents. So I think I'm nothing like my mother. When I think of my father, I think we have the same sense of humor. I do notice that a lot, but do you think that you've gone the opposite way of either of your parents?
I know I have an addictive personality.
Okay.
Does that mean, like, I don't mean, I've always tried to, when I feel myself being pulled into something, it's like I force myself to
Okay.
do the opposite to what she was always so aggressive every single day. And I feel myself sometimes getting like that. And I have to subconsciously remember, pull back, pull back.
I do that too with my
Yeah.
mother's, the temper and
Yeah.
anger and things like that. And I find myself that sometimes that will be maybe a tendency that I would have, and you recognize it. And I think what's important is recognizing that you can pull back from your experience with it.
And
I
I
don't
think
know.
I'm not a negative person, but my mother used to be quite negative towards other people. And sometimes I hear her in my mind when I look at something or someone, and I might be thinking something in my head, you know, and then I think of my mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
It is, everyone. Very interesting. Hey, we'll be right back after this short break, everyone. You're watching Midday Kentucky.
People ask me all the time, who is John Morgan? So let me tell you, he lights up a room when he walks in. To know him is to love him. It's actually love at first sight. You will never forget his sweetness or his great smile. So now you know. Meet John Morgan. Here he is. Morgan & Morgan, for the people and your grandchildren.
Have you shopped for internet service lately?
Like we have a choice for internet service?
You do with Exceed.
What's Exceed?
Exceed is a better, faster internet service you can get just about anywhere.
Even here?
Yep. In fact, if you can see us, you can get Exceed.
Get high-speed internet where you live. Call now to get started with Exceed for zero money down.
If you live outside the city without a lot of internet options, you can get Exceed today. It's great for everything you do online.
Okay, we get these offers a lot. But when I call, they say we can only get snail speed in our area.
Well, Exceed brings you super fast speed today, so you don't have to wait for that old snail.
Oh, honey, it's not a real snail.
Did I mention that Exceed will also lock in your price for 3 years?
Oh, I'm gonna miss calling every year to argue about the price.
Really?
No.
You do have a better choice for internet, and you can get it right now in your area. Plus, for a limited time, you can get free standard installation. So call today. Exceed, a better choice for internet.
As a working mom, I'm thankful my mom is able to help out. So I bought her the all-new Jitterbug Flip from Great Call. It's so easy to use, and with a larger screen and bigger buttons, it's even easier to dial. There's also a 5-star button on the keypad.
One touch and you'll be immediately connected to a highly trained agent who can confirm your location, assess the situation, and get you the help you need.
And for a limited time, get 25% off at select Walmart stores.
More doing chores for mom per roll? Bounty is more absorbent, so the roll can last 50% longer than the leading ordinary brand. So you get more life per roll. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
I'm your Venus.
The smoother the skin, the more comfortable you are in it. So find a Venus Smooth that contours to curves, flexes for comfort, and has a disposable made for you. Skin smoothing Venus razors.
My challenge is to be in sync with my body, myself, my life. It all starts with a healthy routine. Begin the Activia 2-week probiotic challenge by enjoying Activia yogurt with billions of probiotics every day. Take the Activia Probiotic Challenge.
Hey, thanks for joining us right here on Midday Kentucky. If you remember, I think it was last week we talked about the bathing with your children and what age should you actually stop bathing. And I think there was a story, this lady was bathing with her children at 9.
Yeah, like
Oh, no, sorry, at 5 or something.
Oh, no, I think it was older. I think it was
Oh,
like
Yeah, it was
8.
older, because
Yeah.
I think we decided 5 was.
Yeah, and
I'm
no, you
thinking
said
toddler, like
and you
young.
were like, well, I wouldn't bathe with my sons after 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's an interesting story about a woman that has now gone a little, upset on the web because she's been harassed by families because she posted a story saying that she has now finally asked her child to not sleep in her bed. The child's 9. Here's my thing. Is sleeping with your kid at 9 years of age every night a little bit too much?
Oh, every night? Yes.
Oh, no, this is every night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. With me, it's not every night. But my kids, we still have an over, we do like a sleepover once a week.
Plus the 2.5-year-old also sleeps in the bed.
Wow, that's crowded. I don't
Yeah.
even know how she's getting any sleep.
But here's the
honestly.
thing. I also think, Katie, look, I'm not a parent, okay? All I can go on is what my friends tell me about their marriages and their arrangements with their kids. And I seem to think that it would be very hard on your partner to, a lot of my buddies have said, I wish my kids would not sleep in the bed because it's their time with their wife.
Well, yeah, I think that this is a separate issue than the bathing things. I think you're talking about what's the line of what's appropriate. I think it's completely appropriate to have your child in your bed. That's normal.
Till when though?
Any age. Like,
Any
I don't
age.
think there's anything weird about that.
I don't
I
either.
do think that it can get in the way of helping the child find some boundaries on their own, because I know a lot of kids, and I think this happened to me when I was younger, or I was sharing a room with my sister, and then once I was in a room on my own, I was scared at night. Or, you know, I think at a certain age you have to learn to be on your own at night. But, and it can get in the way of maybe your marriage and connecting in that way. But I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing a bed with your children at any age.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
there goes my argument, everyone.
I went to Spain with my dad 2 years ago, and when we walked into the hotel room, we had booked like a room, and it came with
But
a
that's
living
a- hold
room and a
on.
pull-out couch, and we walked in, and they said, "I'm so sorry, we're overbooked. We only have a room with one bed." And we're like, "Oh, well, the couch." They said, "No."
But
I
that's
made him go to a
different.
different hotel.
This is
Did you
every
really?
night though, Kate.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that at any age, it's fine to do, just not all the time.
yeah, yeah. And I mean,
What do you let your kids still sleep in your bed every night?
Not
okay,
every
while
night.
Doug's away.
Not every night.
Okay.
I can't, because they would get accustomed to it, and
Yeah.
but we do it like we have a certain night a week that they want to
Okay.
sleep with me at least
got you.
once a week, and so we do that. And sometimes we do a sleepover in the theater room. We do like like camping out and lay in sleeping bags.
You
and
got a
stuff like
theater
that.
room?
So yeah.
But do you think that parents shouldn't do that after a certain age? Because I think it's totally fine. 10, 12, whatever. I think it's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean,
But then again, I went to boarding school, so there was none of that, sleepover stuff. Hey, talk to me about, Katie, you were talking more about
Sleepovers.
Sleepovers and how long should you date before you move in?
Yeah, this was interesting. This was just a study on when people think that you should move in together. So before I tell you guys the results, what do you think? I was surprised by Lisa's thoughts.
Yeah. I am. Well, Katie was asking me, if Doug and I lived together before we got married, and we didn't. We actually lived with our parents at the time. We were living at each of our parents' houses, and so we just ended up getting a townhome once we got engaged, and ended up, moving in after we got married. And
Was that a faith-based decision or a financial decision?
no, it was
or-
more of, maybe, in all honesty, maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both. I just felt like, at the time my father was alive, and I just I thought that, Doug and I, we already were, we knew
How old
once
were
we got
you?
engaged. We were older. We were 27, 26.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we kind of, we just knew right when we met that it was that, and we got engaged quickly, and then, we waited a year to get married, but we just kind of planned everything, saved our money. So financial was definitely in there, but I just, I would say faith was a little bit of that as well.
Okay. Are you
So what do you think?
Oh, I think you should move
Right
in.
away?
Well, get onto it, Dal. Do you know what I mean? And I just think because a lot of people, when they move in, when they finally get married, that there are problems of you haven't got used to one another. Now, whether that means you moving in full time or spending 3 nights a week.
Well, that's not really living together. That's just
Well,
a normal
no, 3
relationship.
consecutive nights.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So you actually see someone's habits.
Well,
Okay.
and
Do
you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, I do. Because Doug and I mean, that first year of marriage, living together, not only being married, but then living together and learning each other like that. I mean, it's hard on a marriage. It's difficult living with. I'm difficult to live with, believe it or not.
Well, here's what the
Oh,
study
there's
says.
no argument here.
I knew there would.
And we don't live with you.
So this was just a large survey of adults. They said 20 and older. 33% said you should move in after getting married. 25%.
Hold on, 33?
33. So a third.
A third of
A
the
third.
people said you should live together after marriage. 25% said 1 to 2 years, and 23% said 6 months to a year, and then 12% said less than 6 months.
Okay.
So I was surprised by the amount of 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
A fourth,
Oh, look,
basically.
I think if you fall in love, go for it. Just go for it, because it might not last forever. Do you know what I mean? And you only live once.
Right.
And I think, but that's my personality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just remember, I was the person that sold up everything and moved to another country.
Right.
Well, have you
on-
cohabitated?
Huh?
Have you cohabitated?
Yeah, I have only once.
I never have. I
Only
like
once.
being alone.
Yeah. And I like my own company, so I don't feel the need to be with anyone in that way. But I could imagine it would be look, let's be honest, it would be nice to have a conversation with someone at home instead of me laughing at myself talking to the TV or sitting
your bathtub.
in my bathtub or chatting to someone on the phone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I do honestly say it would be nice to have that conversation. You know,
It is nice.
listen,
Every night or a few nights a week?
3 nights.
3 nights a week.
Live close by, visit often. As my nonna used to say, you can park your shoes under my bed any day, but just live close by and visit often.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, sorry.
No, go on.
I was just saying
I was tossed the break.
Oh, it's okay. Well, I was just saying it gets tricky when you say 6 months or less, that it's also a commitment of moving in with someone. Because what if it doesn't work out? Whose place is it? If you're moving into someone
Right.
else's
Oh, I'm not moving
and
into
giving
anyone
up
else's.
yours, you know, that would be
And they can't bring
sticky.
any furniture either. You bring
Right?
your clothes.
But so then for them, if you break up with them, they have nothing.
No, the housekeeper would pack their bags up and
Oh, my goodness.
Up next, everyone will learn more about Lexington's interfaith encounters, docudrama, The Sultan and the Saint. Stick with us, everyone. You're watching Midday Kentucky.